Hello everybody, Kathy Fray here from MotherWise, and today what we're going to talk about is when it's at about day 3 or 4 after you've had a baby. So that's a really interesting time because you've already now had a couple of days of looking after this baby, and that's already been a massive learning curve, and you might be starting to feel like your milk is coming in a bit or not quite there. You might still be right in the depths of baby blues and feeling quite teary-eyed and emotional, and that's completely normal. That happens to 4 out of 5 women. So that day 3 or 4 is kind of an interesting sort of transitional period. So I'm just going to whiz over today some things just to kind of have in the back of your mind to be thinking about, knowing that you'll be dealing with at that time. Of course I do a much longer session where we deep dive into this topic or these multiple topics, and those are 25-minute webinars that I do as part of my Inner Circle Essential Basics, and this is like a MotherWise masterclass, and I'll add a link onto the bottom of this page that tells you about how to become a member there of our tribe if you wish to. Otherwise, this is a really good little overview anyway. So, okay, normally the milk, normally your blues arrive around that sort of day 2 to 3, and that's a really great sign. Midwives get very excited when we see baby blues because it tells us that your milk is coming in. And so usually about sort of 24, 48 hours later it arrives, and for some women, oh my God, like me, it's like in 1 hour it's arrived. You've gone from making tiny amounts of colostrum to massive breasts within an hour, and then for some women it takes several days, and it's not so dramatic. So everybody's different, and the size of your breasts or lack of size of your breasts are completely irrelevant. So it seems it really doesn't matter. And okay, so things that you should be checking with you, or your health professional should be checking with you, is particularly doing sort of post-birth recovery examinations, so checking your perineum or checking a Caesar wound, checking any sutures, checking your breasts, making sure they're looking okay, no signs and symptoms of mastitis, and making sure that you are starting to feel confident with the idea of being in your home environment, either discharging to that, or maybe you've already arrived back home, or maybe you had a home birth and you've been there the whole time. You need to know what your signs and symptoms are of postnatal infection, so make sure that that's very clear in your mind, particularly breast lactation mastitis and postnatal womb infections. You should know those signs and symptoms, and you should feel like you've got really good advice and sort of hands-on assistance available to you with regards to breastfeeding. Remember that full lactation of successful breastfeeding really takes about a month to establish a really wonderful synchronicity between the mother and the baby. Okay, now the baby, all right, just that probably the sort of main thing that sort of tends to be starting to rear its head at this time is jaundice. And so jaundice is when the yellow pigment of part of your blood is okay, let's go back. Babies are born with more blood than they need, so they start to break it down, and the yellow pigment can appear on their skin, and they can look a little bit yellowish. And it's the same yellow pigment that appears when your bruises are a few days old. It's called bilirubin. And so you need to know what the signs and symptoms are of a severe or concerningly high level of jaundice, which should have a blood test, and that's the only way that we can definitively know what level of jaundice that baby has. And in general terms, if they're sort of a little bit yellow down to about there, it goes from the head down, by the way, and if they're a little bit yellow down to about their belly button, that's okay. If it's all the way down to their ankles, yeah, to keep a good eye on it. It's certainly if it's starting to involve their hands or feet or the whites of their moisturize, then, and especially if it's involving their palms or soles of their feet, that baby absolutely needs to have a blood test same day, and to find out immediately what that bilirubin level is, because the baby might need phototherapy, which is when we use light therapy to help break down those bilirubin compounds that are sitting there, and light basically assists it. So make sure that's all very clear in your head. And then the other thing that you want to make sure that you're very clear about is shaking baby syndrome. And you need to know that this is a really important thing that must be avoided, because it can give permanent brain damage to a baby. Absolutely must never happen, shaking a baby. But it generally occurs because the person looking after them is frustrated at their crying. Okay, so make sure that you are aware of the signs and symptoms of shaking baby syndrome. So if there's any moments in time that another person is looking after your baby for you, that, you know, you need to be incredibly confident that they have the patience of a saint, really, at that stage in a baby's life, and make sure that that never would occur for your baby. And because certainly there's been numerous cases where it hasn't been the mother that's done it, but it's been another caregiver. And obviously, if you yourself feel like you're just about to throw your baby across the room, that's not okay, and you need to reach out for help. Okay, so that's everything for today. And but again, you know, we'd love to hear from you. Join us for a bit more of a whole deeper dive into these topics at 3 to 4 days. And do catch up with my other little mini webinar podcast that we've recorded too, about day 1 and day 2 to 3 on babies, because there's lots of important information there too. Okay, I wish you all a lovely rest of your day and rest of your week, and we'll catch you later. Bye. See you.